Welcome to Salsido Paranormal. I'm your host, James Salsido, and tonight I am talking about haunted places in the U.S. As always, you can find all episodes of the show along with links to social media, ways to listen, and ways to support the show at the website, and that is salsidoparanormal.com. That's SALSIDO paranormal.com. And you can support the show in many ways. You can share the show with others and rate and review it on your favorite podcast platforms. Excuse me. You can also check out the Patreon page and get extra content there for as little as $1 a month. And also the merchandise store and get all kinds of shirts and other items there as well with designs made by friends of the show. Support is never expected but always appreciated, as there are expenses in making these shows. As always, please check out links in the episode descriptions to friends of the show. That would be Jen, the Arcane Observer, who has her own channel and also is the co host of this show on Saturdays. And then Michael Strange of Trouble Minds Radio and the Trouble Minds Radio Network, KUAP Digital Broadcasting. And there you can listen to shows from myself and many other amazing people 24/7. So always a great way to listen to things without having to press the play button every half hour or hour. So um, I believe that covers everything. So we are still. Let me check. Actually, I don't even remember now where we're at. I think we're still. No, we're in Connecticut. Not Connecticut. I will find out shortly where we're at. I think we are actually in Connecticut as far as the series and where I'm at. It's it gets confusing because I'm as far as the research for this series of shows, I'm already in Indiana, but as far as recording these shows, I'm still on Connecticut. There we go. I was right about that. So a couple things I want to always point out when doing these shows about haunted places, supposedly haunted places. Please, if you are considering going to these places, check how on how you are allowed to visit them now. The rules and the schedules of visiting times and tours and whatever else, because things change over time. What may have been a public place at one time may not be a public place at the time that you want to go and visit. So I always recommend checking out the details of the location to see when it is okay to go there and when it is not. And because for all kinds of reasons, I do not suggest in any way any kind of trespassing. Um, so also, I will mispronounce things in these descriptions of these articles. I will share the articles that I'm summarizing here in the episode description, so you can check out the articles completely, read them all the way through, and also see all the images that are usually in these articles of these places as well, because um, they're they're really, it is amazing to find all these articles and read through them and see all the pictures. So I definitely recommend if you have the ability to do that um, for any location that you're aware of that you might be interested in, you can sort of just put it in your favorite search engine and maybe put the word haunted next to it, and a lot of times you can get some interesting articles. So anyway, uh, so like I said, these articles will be in the links to these articles will be in the episode description, and you can go from there. So thank you all for listening to these shows. Also, to those that listen live, thank you for being patient as I took a little bit of time off, and but I'm glad to be back now doing these shows as always. So, all right, on to the articles here. This first location, I usually cover 1 to 2 locations per show. Depends on how short the articles are that I'm reviewing here. But this first location is known as Dudleytown. It's in Cornwall in Connecticut. And this first website this article I'm looking at here is from hauntedrooms.com, Haunted Rooms of America. So here we go. We'll start with this here. So this place is in the woods of Cornwall, Connecticut, and says that unlike many deserted towns in America, which were abandoned due to economic downturns or changing industries, Dudleytown is has a much darker story, one that possibly involves an ancient curse, as well as other inexplicable tragedies and other paranormal events. So it was the settlement was founded in the early 18th century. So that's 1700s. I always get that mixed up, but I believe that's right. It is known now as the Village of the Damned, as far as legends go and folklore. There's legends, again, as I mentioned in the beginning there, of death and madness surrounding the area. So the article here asks how this area came to be known as such a place. It started, it says, back in the 1500s, to a time when a noble family was basically the root of all this. Apparently, uh, it starts the legend and the folklore and all this starts with Edmund Dudley, who was an influential advisor to King Henry VII of England. It says here in the article in 1510, Dudley was beheaded for treason, accused of conspiring to overthrow the king. And says the article here that his execution was just the beginning of a string of misfortunes that would fall on his family. So Edmund's son, John Dudley, who was the Duke of Northumberland, would also die in a terrible way. He plotted to install his daughter-in-law on the English throne. So this has to do a lot with history over in the UK. I guess I didn't know this. But so planned to have his daughter-in-law installed in the English throne. And apparently his daughter-in-law was Lady Jane Grey. Apparently, once the plot failed and was discovered, both him and this, let's see here, what was it, daughter-in-law, were killed because of this. And the article says that some say this misfortune placed a curse on the family, the Dudley family, and this followed them across the ocean to the U.S. to what would be Connecticut. Well, it was Connecticut actually at the time because it was one of the, I guess, the original colonies. And this focuses on a descendant known or named John Dudley. So it was. So let me see here. So when John Dudley came to Connecticut, this this curse supposedly followed the family along to what would become known as Dudleytown, which is where the name came from. Was apparently this family, and when they arrived, and when many more of the family arrived, that's when other things started happening. So I don't want to go too much into all the history of all the tragic events here. That's not really what this show is about. Obviously, there are said to be links between that uh, and then paranormal events, which I do think it can happen sometimes. Let's move on to the abandonment of Dudley Town, and of course, if you're you will be able to find the rest of the information I'm kind of passing over in the article here in the article itself, the link to it in the episode description. So it says that by the mid 19th century, which is 1800s, yeah, that whole 18, that naming the century, the 18th or 19th, always throws me off because I always want to go toward 19th century, so 1900s. No, that's not how it is. Anyway, just a little pet peeve of mine, I guess. So around this time, around mid 1800s, uh, this this town either supposedly died or went mad or left the area in search of better economic opportunities. So this says the settlement's remote location and poor farmland made it hard to sustain life, and the few remaining families there eventually abandoned the the farms there and the homes there as well, leaving the whole settlement to be abandoned. And so apparently it had been a thriving community at one point, but then eventually it became a ghost town in the middle of a forest. So it says that though a lot of people argue that the abandonment was because of just poor ground conditions and that causing trouble with being able to grow things and make money off of those things. Uh, there's other people that say that the villagers were driven away by ghostly apparitions, shadow figures, and strange noises. That and these accounts of this started to circulate, which eventually drew the attention of paranormal enthusiasts long after the village was abandoned. It says here in the article, over the years, um, the reputation of this area for being sort of dangerous became it just grew over time. Uh, so this in the 1920s, it says a Dr. William Clark purchased a large part of land that included Dudleytown, and he wanted to create a summer retreat, but his plans were cut short. While Clark was away on business, his wife reportedly went insane, spending the rest of her life in a mental institution. So this is odd. I wonder if there's some kind of energy fields in the area that are affecting people that could have affected people um, who tried to stay there. I don't know. This just seems odd. It's either that or there's just some really odd coincidences that happen in this area that. And I mean, I think it would only take one or two to um, to have people start to wonder and then maybe connect things that maybe aren't connected to then have this legend of this area being cursed just grow over time. But anyway, so this incident again helped basically increase the the popularity of the idea that this area was cursed in a way. Although of course it mentions here that the um, so here's this is something I always wonder about these things. It says that skeptics later argued that Mrs. Clark's mental illness had been uh, she had been dealing with this before they ever got to what would become Dudleytown. So of course there's no way to know for sure either way that now without doing a ton of research, and even then, due to it being so far back, I don't know if we'd be able to figure that out for sure either way. It says that in the article here, by the 1970s, the Dudleytown the place where it is had become a focal point for paranormal investigators. And of course, it mentions that the Warrens, Ed and Larry Warren, uh, went there as well at one point, and so they went to the area, and of course, the Warrens declared Dudleytown to be demonically possessed. Now, I have a problem with everything being demons, as many of you know. Not to say that they don't exist, but also it seems like anything paranormal over the years, over many years, this is not just something new, but anything paranormal, anything unexplained gets attributed to demons. Just saying. I don't think that's always the case. But the Warrens made a special television special on the area, and this, of course, only made it more famous for being one of the most haunted locations in the U.S. Other than that, though, it says that reports of strange events in the area began to surface uh, regularly after that. Visitors to the area claim to hear disembodied voices, see shadow figures, darting between the trees, and feel an overwhelming sense of dread while exploring the ruins. Now, the dread thing, if you go in there after hearing about how terrible this area is, I wonder how much of that is the area itself, and how much of that is the legend of the area itself. Anyway, it says that some people spoke of encountering bizarre, dark creatures living in the dense forest, while others left with unexplained scratches or bruises. The woods, of course, now, and if it's woods, then who knows where the scratches they could have come naturally. But the woods, it says, are thick in there, and they seem to amplify the paranormal activity, making it a hot spot for ghost hunters and thrill seekers. It says. So now here's an important thing. This is why I always put out there at the start of these shows. Be sure to check on whether it's okay to go and look at a place or not. Says that today, as of when this article was made, which I always forget to check on that before I start reading these for you all, but it'll be in the full article. But as of when this article was made, the area was closed to the public, and the land was owned by the Dark Entry Forest Associations. That's a okay. That's an odd coincidence if that is one. But it's off limits to visitors both due to legal and safety concerns. And it says that despite their warnings and restrictions, people would still go there and find ways to trespass, which is again not something I never recommend, uh, in order to have experiences there. So, of course, the article mentions that people that are caught doing this are um, left with heavy fines, as the locals have gotten tired, basically, of the persistent attention this area received. So now, of course, you could say I'm giving that area more attention, but I would argue that what we do in these shows is try to talk about the history and the paranormal activity in the place, and but also try to point out these are still places where people have lived, and they are in places with with areas around them where people still live today. And if you can only imagine, if an area you're just constantly dealing with trespassers, if you're constantly dealing with people trying to get into an area that isn't you're not supposed to be in, then that could get very old very fast. So there's the Cornwall Historical Society Apparently, they made efforts to debunk the myth surrounding the area. The legend still persists, and so it points out that facts have never stood in the way of a good ghost story. So just keep that in mind. Like I always say, and this is why I say this, because some places may not be open to the public. But I think we can look at these places and still talk about the possibilities without having to go to them if you are not wanted to be there. And I think we should respect those wishes of people in these areas that have to deal with this all the time um, when they don't want to. It's one thing if you own a place and you want it to be sort of an attraction or whatever, and you arrange for that and you set it up to be that. But when it's not like that, um, it's not nice, not right for I don't think for people to just go and trespass and take up the time and resources of other people around the area uh, who are only trying to help in a lot of ways. Again, if there's safety concerns, then that's something that should be noted, and you should pay attention to that when people say that in the area. So I do have this other article here uh, on the area on this area itself again from onlyinyourstate.com. We are not going to have time to get into it, but again, I definitely recommend checking out these articles when I share them in the episode description. And as I always say with these shows, eventually we will get to haunted places outside of the U.S. That will be a thing that we do once we get done with the United States itself. And I just went with the U.S. because it'd be easier when searching for articles to find articles on places here in the U.S. since that's where I'm at here. But we'll definitely cover Canada, the UK, different parts of Europe. There, the only thing that we'll have to make sure of, or that I'll have to do, is I will only review places that have articles that talk about them where the articles are in English, because that's the only language I know, other than a few words here and there in Spanish. And so that's the best way to go with these shows here. So yeah, so that's all that we're gonna have time to cover on this show here. Please check out the links in every episode description, as I always say, um, and especially those where we have guests if they have their own projects. And thank you all for supporting the show as much as you have so far. I really appreciate it. All the support by listening, by sharing with others if you've been able to do that, and then by contributing to the show, whether it's ideas or even helping with with contributing through donations and through purchases in the merchandise store. Those things really have helped a lot. I got to help with really the expenses of doing these shows. I was because they do come up and every so often, and a lot of times they come up and they're not expected when they happen. So I appreciate everyone who's helped the show over time. Thank you all for being here and listening, and I will talk to you all next time on Salsido Paranormal. Take care.